Hey guys, welcome to a new vid. Time to check out what's going on in 7.14. What's going to be super strong. Like, we've got 4 champion reworks, a new item, and massive lethality changes all in one patch. So we're going to start with the lethality item changes. There'll be stuff in the description if you want to skip to different roles. But if you follow Riot social media stuff, right, you know they like to throw around a few memes here and there. It seems like it's leaking into the PvE team now with these lethality changes. Like, they're pretty ridiculous. The first thing is lethality is changing the way it works a little bit. So the arm pen is now based on the owner's level and not the target's level. It's better for solo laners basically, or people that are ahead, and it's going to be worse for AD carries because they're normally lower level than everybody else in the game. All the items are getting changes as well, but Duskblade is the major one. So it's 350 gold cheaper now, which is actually quite a lot. It's less AD, but more lethality. The proc damage is now based on your level, and it does physical damage up to 360. Very briefly, it's going to slow. It grants 10% cooldown reduction, and it lasts longer after you're seen as well. Edge of Night has more lethality, gives 250 health, but no magic resist anymore. Finally, Ghostblade, 5 less AD, 3 more lethality, but it has more out of combat move speed. It's actually doubled. Also, the Dirk, by the way, like the thing that builds into all of these items, after killing an enemy, your next spell is going to do 50 bonus damage. So it's actually much better like as you're building towards these items. Summed up, if you're lazy, Edge of Night is better as an all-around defensive item. Ghostblade is more mobility than damage now, and Duskblade is really when you want to kill stuff. This Duskblade seems insane, right? 360 extra damage onto an assassin's combo or bruiser or whatever. I don't think they needed that. The damage also doesn't scale with the lethality items anymore, so they can get it on its own. Like, it's a decent item as a rush now. Like Kha'Zix as well, by the way. You could use this 3 times in a fight and deal almost 1,000 bonus damage. That seems nuts. What it means for solo laners is it's a good buff here. Lethality scales with your level now, and solo laners are the highest in the game. It's better when you snowball for the same reason, and adds a good amount of damage even early. But now, not even needing other lethality items, it's much better. Quick side note, but Zed's ultimate, by the way, scales from that damage now because it's physical. So the pop at the very end of his ultimate will now do an extra like 500-ish damage just with Duskblade. What it means for ADs as well, by the way, actually worse in general, I think. Like, normally you were hitting targets higher level than you, so now that's going to be less arm pen. It is still good for snowballing. Duskblade damage is very good, but it's likely only going to proc once per fight. So it's nice, but it's not amazing. It's kind of nice to cheese some damage, and the only thing I can really see it being used with is the rapid fire cannon because you get this long range crit. The real winners though would be Zed, Talon, Kha'Zix. I think they abuse it more than anybody else. All of them can add a lot of damage onto their combo with the new Duskblade, and I think they all got a really nice buff out of this. We're going to move on to roles though. So top lane is going to be first. This whole patch actually is legit top lane focus apart from lethality and a very small few other things. We have this new item, Bramble Vest, 900 gold for 35 armor and a passive which reflects 20 damage and inflicts grievous wounds. That builds into Thornmail now, which is 250 health, 75 armor, and has 2 passives. The first reflects 10% of your bonus armor plus 25 in damage and applies a grievous wound. The second is going to reduce the attacker's attack speed by 15%, which is the same unique passive as Randuin. So you wouldn't actually want to buy both of these, just one or the other. Speaking of Randuins, actually has 50 more health on it now as well, which is nice. But basically, this Bramble Vest is like a 900 gold answer to a fed assassin or AD carry. It applies grievous wounds, which means they cannot lifesteal properly anymore, and they're going to be easier to kill. The damage as well on Thornmail scales on your armor, so you do need other armor items to make this hurt. It also means it's good earlier now into the game. It doesn't matter how much the enemy AD carry is doing damage-wise, the reflection damage is actually the same. That's partly why against a fed AD carry, I don't think this is a very good item outside of the grievous wounds, but against one that is behind, it is amazing. In short, I think AD carries are pretty boned in mid-game against this item before they get arm pen and lifesteal. The biggest change to top laners though is to Cho'Gath. This guy looks so legit now. The big thing really is his E rework. The next 3 basic attacks launch spikes which do decent damage, but it's also a percentage max health damage. The way that it scales is it's 4% plus 0.5% per stack. So if you have 12 stacks of your ultimate, like from eating stuff, it's 10% max health damage per attack plus a 50% slow. It is still an AoE attack like the old version, by the way, so that is a crap ton of damage out in a team fight now. You're going to run around, right? You eat stuff all game, that's all you have to do. Then you press E in a team fight, do like 30% of everybody's health bars in 3 hits, then press your R and eat them for true damage. He's already got a silence, he's already got a knock up, he has a true damage nuke as well. If this is not enough to make him overpowered, then they should legit just delete the champion because he's never going to be good, let's be real. His kit is overloaded right now, but it's just so easy to mess up, and I guess that's why we don't see him much anymore. By the way, your ultimate stacks are not that hard to get either. You'll be doing loads of damage. Imagine like attack speed Cho'Gath with his E now. basically bursting the target down in 3 hits. I've really got to try that. Fiora is getting 2 changes that revolve around her move speed. The passive move speed is down, your ultimate is not going to apply it anymore. Fiora is probably the easiest strong champion to play at the moment, I think, and this will make her a bit harder, I reckon. You're on a slippery, you're probably actually going to die a bit more in the game, like you can't dodge everything, but I don't think it kills the champion or anything. The new Trinity build is sick, so you kind of get the kite from your phage instead. Garen has a slight rework here though, so 2 things is the passive and his W both getting kind of tweaked. Basically, your passive takes longer to trigger now after taking damage below level 10, but it's quicker after level 11. The healing is actually a lot less before level 10, but it's also lower by 2% at level 11. That is because you've got this new way of it working, where healing basically doubles when Garen is below 25% health or below 50% health when he's above level 11. Basically, what you need to know is when Garen gets low, his health regen goes bonkers. It's also much better after level 11. The W has the damage reduction changed as well, so it offers more at the very start, but less afterwards, if that makes sense. So it reduces 60% of incoming damage and 60% tenacity for under a second, then 30% less damage for the last second. I think this is proper cool though, like 60% reduction at the start of a fight. If you think about it, like Syndra ults you, right? And you press this as the first ball hits you in the face. Isn't that pretty ridiculous? Unless I'm dumb and I've read it wrong, which is quite possible. It looks that way, and that is so strong, but Garen isn't exactly meta right now, and I'm not sure this is going to make him meta either. This though, this Syndra rework, oh my god, this is going to be back, and I'm not looking forward to this. Your base health is up 70 early game, your health growth is up as well, like, and you have a new passive. You gain 20% move speed when passing enemy champions, which is on a 10-second cooldown. Your QAP ratio is up a little bit because the base damage is slightly down, and your W has been reworked as well. The mana cost is down, the cooldown is down later, you only slow for 40% all ranks and a 3-second duration, so those are kind of nerfed. But that is because it's a new thing. They are also grounded now in this ooze like area, like Cassio's W, right? You can't flash or dash or anything. Your E and ultimate mana costs are also down, and your ultimate stat bonus is up a little bit late game. I think this grounding thing is huge for his team fight though. People cannot flash away from you anymore. Imagine like charging forward with the Righteous Glory and the AD can't flash. That passive is also crazy. Like, it makes it worse, right? You run past 3 people to get to their AD carry. Those 3 people all speed you up. The AD can't flash because he's grounded. That does not seem cool. Early game is way better with more health as well. Your E mana cost means better trades and stuff. Like, your ultimate spam is more legit. I can't actually see a downside to these changes, and that scares my little AD carry ass. It is about time he got something, to be fair. Like, he's been pretty average for a while, but you might have to ban him. I'm not sure. I think the way this is going to go is on a really good player. He has so many tools to be annoying and frustrating and win the game by himself that you might actually just get frustrated and want to ban it. The final change though is to Yorick. So his passive ghouls now attack a bit sooner after cast, the damage is up slightly, and radius for the aggro is up. The ultimate cooldown is also lower later, 40 seconds off, which is really cool, and the maiden health is 1,000 more rank 3. Basically, Yorick actually sucks late game. Like, this is saying, okay, we're going to buff his late game then. Your split push is better, it's more annoying, harder to play against, I guess. Maybe that helps a bit, and he's actually super good at lower ranks right now. I guess if you think about it, split push is probably a bit more effective at lower ranks because people just don't really know how to answer it. What this actually means for top lane is tanks now have a 900 gold answer to 80 carries and attack speed champions. What, like an answer is in, like, you're going to reduce their damage and also make their lives a lot more difficult. Cho'Gath should finally be good, but if he's not, I legit have no idea what they can do anymore because his kit is so overloaded. Fiora, Garen, and Yorick will probably stay about the same, honestly, but Singed will also be a bit stronger in my opinion with these changes. I think he's going to come back a bit more. He's more slippery, more deadly with that grounding especially. What it means for the overall role though, like outside of these direct changes, is tanks might become a bit more popular, but Cho'Gath is a really good like tank counter now with his ultimate and his E. Riven will probably move up as the top spot by a margin now. Only reason she wasn't before is because Fiora can sometimes be an easier and more effective version. I honestly think though this like meta of a hybrid bruiser, health stacking damage with Gargoyle Stoneplate now gets stronger because you can get a Thornmail afterwards, becoming even harder to kill when they dive in. Moving on to AD carry, there's only one change. Caitlyn's attack speed growth has been halved to 2. This is not massive, but apparently there are more changes coming next patch. It might hurt her a little bit into the game, but I don't think it's going to like shake up the meta massively. The thing that might though is whether the new Thornmail and Lethality does more than anything else. Like, these are the two things that could change stuff around. We might shy away from these late game crit champions and favor more like mobile defender self pick like Lucian, Caitlyn, even Tristana a little bit. Playing a Jinx or a Twitch, for example, against a Zed might not be the most enjoyable experience you've ever had, so let's be honest, you might want to pick something else. For the mid lane, we only have one change, which is a rework to Diana. And honestly, this sounds really dumb, but I actually had to go and check with Fox how you pronounce Diana's name because I haven't said it in like a year. Her passive is new. The spellcast is going to give her attack speed now and also restore 15% mana every 3 attacks, plus you still do the damage. Your Q cooldown is down early, your W mana cost busters down early, and your E has a new passive as well as like the dragon. It increases the attack speed gained from her passive to 50 to 90%. This moves her even more away from like burst to attack speed base, and I'm not sure if that's what we needed for her. Like, it's a harder playstyle to play. If anything though, this makes her like a really good split pusher surely with Lichbane, and a jungler as well with the attack speed. I honestly don't really see how this affects her mid lane as much as it affects her in the jungle. Like, she's gonna have a better clear speed and hopefully a better sustain as well. The mid lane meta though is gonna shift because of the assassins again coming back, and safer champions as well probably being a bit more favored. Talon and Zed especially will be coming back, and then you have like these kind of counter champions as well. Malzahar is notoriously good against them, Katarina even as well. Other assassins do pretty well against assassins actually, so this might shift it more than we expect for mid laners. If we have an influx of assassins and stuff, like, also means that Syndra and Victor, those squishy low mobility ones, are probably getting worse with assassins around more. Now for the jungle, we have one change. Rammus, your W self slow is halved to 30%, which is nice, and also your smite can be used on the medium monsters now, like so the middle sized Krugs, I guess. These are very minor changes. The jungle meta will stay the same, but I'd expect tanks to be stronger now. Actually, I bet Rammus with Cinderhulk and then the new Thornmail rush afterwards is going to be really fun to play against. Can you imagine how much reflection damage that is going to be and how hard he is to kill? In my opinion though, Cinderhulk is still busted. Combine that with a Warmogs, a Stoneplate, a Locket, and a Thornmail, that is a really nasty build now. Just a side note as well, this could be even worse if AD carries shift away from tank busters to things that protect themselves because of the assassins. If we remove everything that is going to be late game scaling and are really good against tanks and crit champions and stuff, then tanks become even harder to kill. Finally, for support, Alistar has his R damage reduction up 5% each rank, which is nice, but there's some bigger changes to Taric. Your Q is cheaper to use, and you have 5 max charges now at max rank. Your health scaling is based on max health now as well. Your empowered attacks also give you an extra charge now, which is even better. Your E cooldown is down later, damage up quite a bit, stun duration is higher earlier and lower later. Now Taric is a late game focused champion, right? And this actually helps with that, I think, as well. There are some good changes here, and I expect him to get better this patch. I think in general though, tanks are still going to be getting better as the patches go on for supports, but I think actually this role is probably really diverse at the moment. Mage supports and tank supports are both popular. They both work depending on the team comp and like the player, which is awesome to see. I'm a bit biased as an AD, but I love having a bit of variety bot lane. Obviously, like Thresh and Lulu and stuff are super popular, but there's a lot of choice, I think. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching until the very end if you're still here, but for now, I'll leave you with the robots.